Hello there, it's Mr. Cleave and
Mr. Hallam.
and we're just going to do a short video for you about how we return back to school. And the first thing before you get to school is how you come to school and keeping the social distancing. Now 2 metres is actually bigger than you think.
Peter Crouch.
Yeah, so if you imagine Peter Crouch, that is the distance, him lying on the floor, you need to keep apart. Now I know it's very tempting to walk side by side or in front of each other, okay, but please consider the community and yourselves when you're walking to school. So where do you need to go? Now once you've got to the school premises, if you're going to the library, you need to report through this entrance, the main entrance. And if you're reporting to the hall, you need to come by the leisure centre entrance. Walk past the leisure centre, past the fields and report to the covered area next to the toilets.
Before you come to school, if you are feeling unwell, so if you have a temperature, a cough, a sore throat, a runny nose, then your parents will need to phone school to say that you are not coming in. When you're coming into school, if you're in the library, you will come into this entrance here where there'll be a member of staff that will take your temperature. You need to make sure that if someone is in front of you, that you stand here behind the tape and you'll see the markings on the floor. Do not be worried if a member of staff is in PPE, that is a mask or a plastic face mask. You'll be met by a member of staff. This one's Mr. Cleave at the moment. Okay, he isn't wearing any PPE, so he's just going to demonstrate what he's going to do. You will have your temperature taken, so you'll walk up to the member of staff, have your temperature taken. When your temperature's fine, you'll be told that you can go to the toilets, where the door will be open to wash your hands and then go up to the library. Okay, so when you go to the toilet to wash your hands before you go up to the library, there is a line just here that you can stand behind just in case there's anybody in the toilet. If you walk in and you see someone in there, oh, there's someone in the toilet, just walk out and stand back behind the line here and wait until they come out. And then you can step back and let them go past and up the stairs to the library. But if you need the toilet at any point throughout the day and you're in the library, these are the toilets that you will use all day when you're in school. If you wash your hands first, then afterwards, everything's clean and no one's going to get any infections.
Now the site team have been really busy putting these spacings on the corridors and on the floor. Please make sure you observe that 2 metre distancing when you're in the corridors.
So when you come into the library, the door will be open so you don't need to touch the door, okay? And when you walk in, just walk straight in and you fill up from the front. So the first person will go to the first table and then the next person will go to another one at the front. So you're constantly staying 2 metres apart from each other and staying nice and safe. Okay, so when you're in your classroom, so you're in the library, you need to make sure after your break, and when you come back to the library, you come and sit back down in your seat, okay, at your table. This is your table for the rest of the day. You will need to bring in your own stationery, so pens, pencils, rulers, rubbers, etc. Anything that you're going to need for the day, you need to bring it with you. It will not be given to you, so you need to make sure that you bring stuff with you.
That allows cleaners at the end of the day to clean down your area and make sure it's clean for the next group of children.
If your lesson is in the hall, you will come in and do exactly the same. You wash your hands first in the outside toilets and you'll come in and you'll be seen by a member of staff, you have your temperature taken, and then you'll come into the hall, and as you can see down the steps there are 2 metre markers. Mr. Cleave stood on one of them. Okay, you need to make sure that you are still 2 metres apart. So when you come down into the hall, the desks are set out the same as they are in the library. You'll walk in and you'll go fill up from the front. So if your lesson is in the hall, you'll fill up from the front. As you can see, Mr. Cleave walking to the front, he's the first one in. He will sit down at the front and that will be your desk for the remainder of the day.
The canteen's not going to be open at all, so there's no facilities to buy food or access food. So you need to bring your own snacks in, and it's super important that before you eat anything or drink anything that you've washed your hands. So to avoid cross-contamination, make sure you bring in your own drink of water. Okay, bring your own bottle in.
When you're outside on your breaks or going to the toilet, you need to make sure you are 2 metres apart. Yet again, it's quite a distance. Okay, but you need to make sure that you keep that 2 metres apart. There will not be lots of you in a group. You'll have a designated area to where you go. At all times, you need to, as much as possible, stay 2 metres apart, please.
Don't be offended if a member of staff just asks you or reminds you to keep your distance. Okay, the prime thing is keeping you safe. Okay, making sure we haven't got transmission between student and student or staff and student. In the same way, be respectful of staff. We're desperate to see you as well and have a chat with you and see what we've been up to. But make sure you do keep that distancing and don't be offended if we do shuffle slightly away. So once you've had your English, Maths and Science, your options teacher will pick you up at the start of period 4 or session 4, and from the hall they'll pick up everyone in that group from the hall, and then we'll walk up the stairs, come through the base, and lots of you probably don't know, we go through the base. Mr. Hallam's waiting because he's in my sport group. He's waiting patiently, he's keeping his 2 metres. Mr. Hallam, come with me, we're going to do some BTEC sport, and Mr. Hallam will come with us and we'll walk to the designated classroom. When you're at the library in the hall, you're going to be in your options classroom. So for example, if you've got languages, you'll be here with Ms. Tozer, and as you can see, the staff have set up the tables in such a way that we've got a 2 metre space in between each other. Now it's vitally important you bring your own stationery so you don't get cross-contamination. When you're in your classrooms, make sure you stay in your seat and you observe the seating plan your teachers ask you to come in. But as with the library in the hall, if you fill up from the front and the back, that'll be absolutely fine. And there's some marks on the floor in classrooms. This is from my Miss Tozer. She's now 2 metres away from the nearest student.
Okay, that's from the 15th of June. As you're aware, you've had a phone call or a letter home asking you to come in for a tutor meeting to meet your tutor. You need to meet at reception. So you will go to reception, the main school reception, where you'll be told what you're doing and where you are to go. So you don't go to any classroom, you go straight to reception and you'll be given instructions where to meet your tutor. Okay? If you're in a classroom, as we are now, okay, your tutor will be sat behind a desk and you'll be in one of the seats that is 2 metres apart, just to keep that social distancing, okay, and everything will be fine. And you'll meet with your tutor, and then your tutor will dismiss you and tell you exactly what's going on, and then you can go home after your meeting. Okay, so if you're late to school, you need to come in through the main school entrance, and there will be someone at the main desk, and it says on here, please stand behind the line. Can you please do that? And then you'll be instructed what to do next. At the end of period 4, your teacher will give you the instructions of where and how you're going to go home. Before you leave the school site, you will either wash your hands or you can use some hand sanitizer that your teacher will give you before you leave the school building. You need to make sure when you are leaving the school building you are still 2 metres apart from the other person. Remember, Peter Crouch, 2 metres tall. This is how far away you need to be. When you leave the school site, please stay 2 metres apart and keep that social distancing when you're out in the community.
So what do you do if you're feeling unwell? Now there's a chance you might be feeling unwell, and it could be a number of things, but you need to make sure your teacher knows. They will then, you will then get assisted to student reception by the LSA, where there'll be a member of staff in PPE to check you out and contact home. You'll then be placed into the medical room, where we can keep you nice and safe until your parents arrive.
As you can see from the video that you've just seen, the site staff have been very, very busy making sure that the school site is safe for you and safe for when you're in your lessons. Please make sure that you always stay 2 metres apart and follow the guidelines when you're in any of the lessons. We've made sure that everything is safe for you, and we can't wait to see all year 10s back in school on a part-time basis over the next 3 or 4 weeks.
As Mr. Hallam said, this is really important that we get you back in school. I'm really keen to see you, excited to see you, and plan the next stage in your education as we move forward. It's really difficult times and you've done so well in lockdown. We look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.